Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Stormcast Eternals, and in particular, the Tempest Lord subfaction. Now, we're going to take a special look at this subfaction and try and build a narratively themed army around some of the cool models that you get to use as battle line options for the Tempest Lord. In this video, we'll talk about what those units are and some extra rules we get for being a Tempest Lord army on top of Stormcast Eternals rules. We'll then look at how we can begin creating this Tempest Lord's force, and then look at other units we can bring in to expand upon, and finally finish off the video with a little sample army list for you to use as some inspiration for your own Tempest Lord's army list, or indeed copy ours if that's what you wish to do. So with that said, it is a Stormcast Eternals sub-faction. So we get all the cool Stormcast rules. We get the choice of being either a storm host that is up in the sky, so Scions of the Storm, or we can be a Stormkeep army. I generally go to think Tempest Lords and everything they're all about generally works better as Scions of the Storm. Now the ability we get with the Tempest Lords is we get the ability, every time we attempt a charge move with a Tempest Lord unit that can fly, you can reroll one of the dice for the charge. On top of this, we also get access to Battleline Prosecutors. So surprise, surprise, what we're going to be trying to build an army of here for the Tempest Lords. Now, this sort of goes hand in hand, and we'll talk about that as we go look into the units now. And so, to begin, where do we get started? First of all, let's talk about the Knight Azeroth, which I think is a really solid choice to start off the army with. First of all, he's got some cool rules. He's going to be able to shine his Lantern's Light on an enemy unit within 9 inch of him, which is going to allow us to get +1 to hit for any friendly Stormcast unit that targets that enemy unit in the following combat phase, which is really nice. On top of that, he's got his Starblade, which is 5 attacks, 3 threes, Ren 1, damage 2, so he can put out a decent amount of hurt. This guy, not too shabby. Like, 5 attacks there is pretty nice, in all honesty, for a hero of his size. A base 3-up save makes him pretty survivable. 12-inch move is nice as well. 5 wounds, bravery 8. Now, where I like to talk alongside him, let's talk Prosecutors, and the first one we're going to talk about is going to be the Prosecutors with Stormcast Javelins. These are my favourite Prosecutor unit. Now, what's really cool, first of all, with the Tempest Lords being able to reroll one of the dice when charged, we get the Heralds of Righteousness, where you can declare up to 18 int for your charges and roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 when making your charge roll, meaning you can potentially get some really long bomb charges. These guys are also great for bringing down from the sky, because if they come down from the heavens from Scions of the Storm, they'll be able to roll a 3d6 charge trying to get that 9 there with a reroll to one of those dice. Now, these models are a little bit annoying in how their wings are placed. Anyone who's got Prosecutors will know the pain, but they do have the dispersed formation rule, which is the nice 3-inch sort of apart rule for coherency, which makes them much easier to use on the tabletop. Stormcast Javelins are the main weapon for the unit in shooting. They've got 1 attack at an 18-inch range, 3s and 3s, Ren 1, damage 1, and then they go to 4s and 4s instead in combat, with a 3-inch range in combat, which isn't too shabby at all. Now we've got the Storm Surge Trident as well, which you can put in multiple models, and you can have up to 1 in 3 models in the unit with the Storm Surge Trident, and this is effectively the same stat line but damage 2 in whichever version you look at. You're going to get an extra attack from your champion as well, which is really nice. So some cool solid stuff. These guys also have the Sigmar shields built into their profile, so the ones with Stormcast Javelins will have a 3+ base save, making them a really survivable unit. You know, dropping down 6 of these is pretty nice. They're pretty much guaranteed to get the charge. They're going to put out a decent amount of hurt. You can get +1 to hit if you've got your Azeroth moved up the table and lit something up. And then, you know, you can also go in and make those nice long bomb charges, which is pretty cool, as well as get some shooting in before you do as well. Now, looking into other units we can bring into the army, we have the other unit of Prosecutors, which is the Prosecutors with Celestial Hammers. Now, this unit actually has a lot more weapon options available to it. So first of all, you have the option of even going with twin paired of Celestial Hammers or a single Celestial Hammer and Shield. Now, regardless of which one you do, 1 in 3 models can be equipped with a Grand Weapon, which is going to have 2 attacks at 3s, Ren 1, damage 2. Much the same as Liberator's Grand Weapons there. Now, you're also going to get some difference between your pairs of Celestial Hammers and your single Celestial Hammer. You get an extra attack pretty much on either your shooting profile or your close combat profile if you go with a pair, or you're going to get +1 to your save characteristic, +1 to your save. This isn't a change to the characteristic, meaning you can't ever get, better than a 3-up save with this particular unit. But I think the pairs of Celestial Hammers are nice. You can put 3 attacks at range at a 9-inch range, 4s, Ren 1, damage 1, and then another 3 attacks at 3s, Ren 1, damage 1 in close combat as well. You've got the same rules for Heralds of Righteousness, giving you the 3d6 charges, and Dispersed Formation, making these models much easier to use on the tabletop. For me, these are just another valid option available to the army, which is pretty cool. You've got 3 different styles of Prosecutors you can use throughout your army, which I think is really nice. Now, Knight Venator is a character option that can fly for the army. He's going to provide some extra shooting power. He's got his Realm Hunter bow with 3 attacks at 3s, Ren 1, damage 1, and the same amount of attacks coming out of the Celestial Beacon Talons from his Aether Hawk. In combat, he's not that great. Hitting people with a bow in combat, not the greatest. But he does have a cool ability called the Star-Fated Arrow, where once per battle in your shooting phase, you can say that this unit will shoot a Star-Fated Arrow instead of attacking with its missile weapons. If you do so, you pick an enemy unit within 30 inch, and on a 3+, that target suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the target is a hero or monster, it suffers D6 mortal wounds instead. So a once per game chance to do D6 mortals is pretty nice. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but he's also on that special 3-up save, making him another survivable hero available to the army. Looking into some other heroes, and you can bring in the monsters, because a lot of the monsters for the Stormcast Eternals do fly, and the Taurolon is definitely a good option, though you can look at things like the Stardrake as well. The Taurolon I particularly like because he's going to add some magical potential to your army. He's going to be a 1-cast wizard, which is really nice. And he's got some cool abilities like his Comet Trail, where after this unit has made a normal move, you add 1 to the hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Stormcast and Cities of Sigmar units within 3 inch of this unit until your next hero phase. Or you've got the Cycle of the Storm, where you can potentially start bringing back some models around him. In combat, he's not too shabby. He is a Stormcast Wizard, so 2-inch range with his Aether Stave, 4 attacks, 3/3 Ren 1, damage 2, and another 4 attacks out of the Taurolon itself at 3/3 Ren 1, damage D3. It's pretty nice. Going to put out a decent amount of damage. Now, it is worth mentioning that all of this can become irrelevant. If you really want to play with that power play, you can totally go with Stormdrake Guard and the Knight Draconis and all of that in this particular army. I think there's better armies to potentially do it in, though. Reroll 1 of your charge dice is nice on the Stormdrake Guard and all of that, making sure you don't fail any of that. But we all know what Stormdrake Guard do. These guys just absolutely hit hard. They will obliterate so much. They're definitely got some cool things going for them in a Tempest Lord's army, and you can certainly use them. You can have the Knight Draconis in your army to make Stormdrake Guard battle line and go an all-dragon army in Tempest Lords if you want, but I don't think that's really playing to the theme of the Tempest Lords. And so, with that said, let's look at a little sample army list and look at that piece of artwork. This is the stuff that makes me love Prosecutors. I think they're just such a cool Stormcast Eternals model. I'd love to see something like them get reimagined in the Thunderstrike variation. Could be really, really cool. Now, we've gone for Realm of Chamon. The reason why we've actually gone for this is Tempest Lords. There is quite a lot of them in Chamon, though you can also go from Gairan, would be another cool narrative thing. As Tempest Eye is another city that they constantly frequent. Though they were in Chamon, and they actually are the Chamber of Stormcast Eternals that actually found Gal Moraz, which is pretty cool for some narrative there. Now, we've got a Grand Strategy Predator's Domain. I think that's just great. You've got a very fast-moving army. And then a Triumph inspired for +1 to wound, which could be really nice. Knight Azeroth is going to be our general, going to have the command trait Shock and Awe, meaning we're -1 to hit in the turn we come down with particular units. And then we've got the Arcane Tome on there with Celestial Blade, which is +1 to wound. Really nice spell available on the unit. This is just going to help make a ton of our models that much better. We then slide in the Knight Venator as our second hero option. And then Battle Line, we've got 2 units of 6 Prosecutors and 2 units of 3 Prosecutors. All of them with Stormcall Javelins and a maximum amount of Storm Surge Tridents. Now, the reason I've just gone for all the Prosecutors with the Javelins, I think that 3-up save is just great. in smaller points. However, they are the most expensive Prosecutor variation, so you can definitely play around and mix up your units of Prosecutors in this however you want. You can split these down into units of 3, though you wouldn't be able to fit everything into a single battle regiment if that's the way you went. You could probably make your army a 3 drop if that's the case, because you can fit 6 units inside the Redemption Brotherhood, which is a 1 drop, and then have your 2 heroes separate, which is really nice. 985 points, 15 points under means there's a good chance you're going to get that triumph. 46 wounds isn't that many, but this is what you're playing. If you're trying to do the all Prosecutor army, you know, you can play around with this. I think your Javelins are pretty much your way to go. You probably got twin hammers for some cool sort of chaff removing shooting ability, I think. But for me, it's probably a mix of those 2 variations. I don't particularly rate the hammer and shield. I just think Javelins are just much better at that point. But if you want to play Prosecutors, this is the way you can go about it. They're wicked as models. Look at this piece of artwork once again. It just is an amazing and evokes so much want for me to do my own Prosecutor armor. I've got a ton of them laying about. Maybe I will. But if you've been playing with Tempest Lords and Prosecutors in Age of Sigmar 3.0, let us know how you've been going and what you would do down in the comments below. And so that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And drop us a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, or grabbing some channel merch off our merch store on Teespring, which is on our YouTube store as well. You can also come chat with me and other members of our little community here and our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description, along with the Patreon and YouTube members links. And as a special shout out to all those Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giapi390. And a special thank you to our YouTube members: Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Locke Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Sean Scott, Pink Nico Fire, and Robin Mankiller as well. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to everyone who comes on the channel and helps us create everything we do. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.